A major wake-up call. A major wake-up call. That's what this video is going to be all about. From the fact that the world Christianity is happening more and more. Not just because of the situation yesterday, not with the church, but so much more than that. Wait till you hear what we were just designated from one of the biggest, really, nonprofits and funders of things in America. Things against American values. But they have such an influence when it comes to, especially the Democratic Party, and even some rhinos now are cuddling up with these people. But wait till you hear what they say about white Christian men. How they're just not that important anymore. They're actually hateful. They're not worth the land that they're on. They're not worth anything. You're not going to believe this story. Wait till you hear this and how the world Christianity is hitting closer than we ever thought right here in America. Also, we're going to talk about another story dealing with Dearborn, Michigan. Charlie Kirk, before he died, about a month before he passed, back in August, he made a comment about the biggest threat in America. We've talked a little bit about it, but wait till you hear this because Donald Trump just shared it. Just shared it. And then we're also going to talk about Elon Musk, what he stated. I honestly believe there's something major happening with Elon. He's getting a wake-up call bigger than any wake-up call. I think he's becoming more spiritual. That doesn't mean anything. But I do believe he's starting to see his eyes open, especially after the Charlie thing. We'll talk about that. Also, what about Walmart? Walmart, we have not talked about lately, but they came out with a shocking revelation. Something that we need to pay attention to. Because remember, a lot of us shop at Walmart. Not because we want to, but it may be the only game in town. Wait till you hear what this new Walmart announcement is. It will change the way you think of shopping from here on out. And then lastly, we're going to end on one good news story. Because what it does is the problems we're having with this wake-up call that we just talked about, what we're going to discuss in the video, there is a silver lining and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. But the biggest thing, it's going to take boldness. It's going to take men being men and conservatives and Christians being conservatives and Christians. Wait till you hear the new shocking revelation that just came out about what the Charlie effect has happened. Now, can we run with it and actually become the people that we're supposed to be? Or will we kowtow and look for convenience? Good things are happening, but it's going to take men being men again. Let's dive into these stories. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new, please go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell. Give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, that's okay, but let us know what you think about the content of today's video. Now let's dive into the stories of the day. First, let's talk about the situation with the world Christianity. Now, everyone saw the attack on the Mormon church yesterday, and again, you know, besides theology and some things that are different with the Latter-day Saints versus the Christian movement, it's still tragedy. It's so much tragedy. We've seen an uptick tremendously on violence against any kind of conservative group, any kind of Christian group, any kind of group that represents freedom. But more than that, represents family and represents a higher calling. See, that's the scary thing. Here, you know what I've told people all the time about this Charlie Kirk situation and all this going on. The war is not because someone's a political person. The war is not against someone who, may speak conservative. They don't like those people. The true hatred is the fact that you have a Bible-believing white Christian family who tries to be different than the status quo. That makes people fear the most. So if someone is showing evil spirits and doing evil things, they don't care about, some conservative. They don't even care about some rhino. They care about someone who is absolutely going against the norm. We talk about this all the time with my life and my family, is my kids, I want them different. I want them different because I want them to homeschool. I want them to embrace traditional values, embrace being a traditional wife, a traditional husband, embrace growing your own food, things that are against the norm. And against the norm means that we're trying something new. Well, that war is happening more and more on these conservative Christian families. You saw the situation with the Mormon church yesterday, but this is a bigger story. And Elon even shared this story, and he came out with a phenomenal announcement. But one thing we cannot miss is the point of the story. ADL, which is now supported definitely by mostly all the left, but even some of these rhino Republicans are starting to cozy up with the ADL. That's the Anti-Defamation League. Now listen to what it says. Elon responds to what they said, because they said the Christian Identity and Turning Point USA and other groups like them are actually hate groups. They called white Christian men a hate group. They called Turning Point a hate group. Not only that, they said that if you are saying white lives are important, or you're saying something like it's okay to be white, any of that stuff is considered hateful, and that it has no place in America. Now, I'm sorry, I disagree with that wholeheartedly. And I love what Elon came out and stated. I want you to listen to this. The thing about a lot of these groups is getting all these funding, and a lot of these Congress and Senate who support, they literally despise Christians. They literally are the ones that are showing hate. The ADL is known to helping causes such as the Democrat and liberal ways. And so if they can get an ideology and nonprofit and all these senators and congressmen on board, then all of a sudden they want to deem Christianity and white men a hate group, a form of hate. What does that do? That demeans us to a point where then we could be hated upon. Think about what just happened with Dearborn, with the white Christian minister who was trying to just present the gospel and live personally in Dearborn, Michigan. They told him to get out. You don't believe me that this is happening all over. Listen to this. This came from Dearborn just yesterday. Just yesterday. Dearborn, Michigan's police chief is speaking in Arabic, saying, Hamdulillah, Hamdulillah, all praise due to Allah. He's literally quoting from the Muslim book. And he's basically stating, as this white, I guess, liberal sheriff, cop, whatever he is, police chief, he's literally saying, this is the way. Dearborn is made up of over 50% Islam. We're literally building an Arab state here in America. Do we actually think this is going to be for our best? Now, the ADL didn't come out against people like them, has not come out against any Muslim group at all, but they'll come out against white Christian families. Now, you tell me how that is a oxymoron. You tell me how that makes sense in America. I want to just ask you this, and just ask yourself this, just personally. If you had a chance to grow up in a neighborhood of people who were born here who practice Christian beliefs, black, white, Cuban, Asian, it doesn't really matter what color you are. You have a chance to grow up in a Christian family next to a Christian church, and you're saying, you know what, I'm not a Christian, but I want to be in that neighborhood. That's probably going to be a lot safer than being on the streets of Dearborn, Michigan. Wouldn't you agree? So who's contributing more to the American movement and freedom and actually wanting to live for God and actually representing that? This is the saddest part, is because we have such a good leader. We really do with Trump. We have such a good administration. We see movements like Turning Point. We see all these things trending in the right way. But then there's so much hatred and evil and darkness that is working so hard against us as the conservative Christian movement. Is it weird to be a trad wife? Is it weird to homeschool or homestead? Is it weird to be sustainable and independent? Well, they're saying that's hateful. All those things are hateful. Those things are not norm for America anymore. Is it, people? We better wake up, because that is what we're going to, because Rhino Republicans, along with Democrats, basically the establishment, is embracing this. And what does that actually mean for our future? It's a big question we should be asking. I want you to listen to what Donald Trump just shared. And this was something that Charlie Kirk said about a month before he passed. Such a big thing. Before he passed, Charlie Kirk said the most danger is that we are allowing for Muslims to take over our country. Now, we've talked about that. We actually shared this right after his passing, and also a week before his passing, about the warnings that he was warning America about. And guess what? Trump just shared the same thing. He just dropped a bombshell. He's saying, look, if we don't realize the dangers of our society and what we're allowing in our country without assimilation, and we're just allowing for this to just be the norm. Remember me sharing the story yesterday about the lady who got out of the Muslim faith, and she said these schools that are radicalizing people in the Middle East are the same schools and the same curriculums that you're seeing here in America. And so what Charlie Kirk was trying to bring awareness to it, but what Trump just did is he reposted that exact same comment from a month ago before Charlie passed, stating that if we're not careful, the people like the Somalian group, like the Dearborn, Michigan group, like the situation that's happening in New York City, that it is taking over and spreading like a virus in America. And if we're not careful, we're going to lose America. Because now we have groups working alongside the Muslims saying that their way is okay, but these Christian conservatives are wrong, like the ADL is saying. That is pathetic that we're allowing this to take place. Now also, what about this? In the midst of all this, Kamala's on this book tour. I want you to listen to what she just said. Now, for some reason, she just said this, and ADL didn't come out against her, calling her a hate group or hate crime, or saying that she's doing wrong. Listen to this. Inciting violence, Kamala Harris decided to incite the flames. And she was talking about these ICE situations. She was talking about being on the streets and Trump trying to get Trump's troops there to make sure everybody's safe. Listen to what she says. She says, we must fight fire with fire when it comes to violence in the United States. Wait, now, I'm struggling with this comment here because I'm thinking the violence, I don't like when conservatives, and I don't say conservatives, I want to say rhinos. When rhinos come out and people in the establishment come out and say, well, it's just rhetoric on both sides. No, not quite. There's no violence happening from the right. Now, they'll try to spin stories and make them more conservative and all that, but bottom line is, the inciting violence and hate is coming from one side. I don't see Turning Point USA holding people hostage in the ICE facilities or even in Planned Parenthood. I don't see Turning Point going out and trying to hold people hostage in Somalia, part of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Do you? I don't see conservative groups and conservative Christian churches going to California and trying to destroy the buildings and riot and cause issues. Do you? So it's amazing that Kamala is saying this because it seems like this is one-sided, correct? This is not from both sides. This is one-sided. The sad thing is the more we expose the light, the more we open up and see good things happening, the more dangerous it's going to get for us because evil, when you expose them, they're going to even try to cause more problems for you. There's the movements happening. Wait till you hear these numbers that we're going to be talking about. But that's why it's all of a sudden, when everything seems to be trending well for conservatives and Christians, and Trump came out with a anti-Christianity movement, meaning don't speak against the Christian movement just because. Basically, what he's doing is he's putting a roadblock to where you can't just hate Christian people anymore. That's wonderful. But the more the good happens, the more the evil will want to overtake. The more darkness is going to be exposed. Therefore, you're going to start seeing people's real colors. Their true colors. You're going to start seeing these rhinos and these Democrats for who they are. Actually, the sad thing is that John Fetterman is making more sense from the Democrats. The guy who had a brain problem and had a stroke, he's making the most sense from the Democratic Party than I've ever seen. He's actually saying we shouldn't be acting like this against the Jewish state, but also against Christianity, against people of faith. Man, kudos to that guy. It's sad that he is the one speaking the norm while the leadership is absolutely trying to dismantle what America has been. Now let's move on to this Walmart story, and then we're going to end with some good news because I do have some really good news out of the stories for today. But first, let's go to this Walmart story. Walmart CEO issues a wake-up call stating that AI is going to change literally everyone's job, including the millions of people that are using Walmart, the thousands of people that work for Walmart, and the distributors tied to them. He's saying basically headcount expected to stay flat over the next 3 years and could possibly go down because the growth of AI tools will eliminate major roles for Americans. And he's basically talking about his employees. Now, he did not want to cause a fire sales or cause a major problem or cause a boycott. So here's what he said. He said, we're not going to have to try to eliminate. We're going to try to transform the roles. Now, what he's basically stating is we're not rehiring anybody. If they leave or they get laid off, they're gone. If we fire them because they're doing something wrong, they're gone. We're not replacing that job. Also, if people quit, they're gone. And he's stating we're not doing any more hiring because AI can absolutely do these jobs better. Now, he knows Walmart is the biggest retailer in America, really most likely in the world. So what he's saying, he don't want to cause too much of a panic. But what he came out and stated was, everything from this point on will be AI-driven, not employee-driven. Meaning, there will be times where he's just going to find new places for the employees. And if they can't find the new jobs for them, they're gone. This goes along with the story I told you just a few days ago where they said there was over 41% of businesses looking at ways they can use AI to save money and ultimately will cause for massive layoffs. Now, do I blame anyone for trying to save money? I absolutely don't. But this is where I come back and say sometimes these unions, sometimes these people that are pushing for $20 and $30 and $40 and $50 jobs when really the job's not that hard, what we did is we just basically put the last nail in our own coffin as a workforce, because what we've done is we've made it too unaffordable for businesses to pay us. Now I know people are like, oh, well, they're making millions as owners. Well, they're the owners. There are people that support them. It is what it is. We can't make the owner's salary. It's not our job to. But what we can do is work hard, and when we work hard at our jobs, then people may see the value that we actually bring. But like all these situations, like if you remember when UPS had their big situation, and GM had a big situation, and Ford had a big situation, these groups come in and they picket, and basically now they're all making like $80, $90 to $100,000 to push a button or to drive a truck for a 10 or 12 hour day. Now don't get me wrong, everybody should make a good earning. I'm not saying that. A good living, you should make that. But if all of a sudden they can buy one robot to do the job of 4 or 5 men and save $500, $600, $700,000 a year, I'm sorry that you're going to lose your jobs. Maybe we should start negotiating now to say, look, if you want the workforce and us to stay with you, let's negotiate a long-term contract. Not for more money, but for job stabilization. Ooh, that's a big one. It's not about jobs now. Sadly, AI's coming and starting to replace jobs. Maybe it's job contracts to where we say, look, we're willing to not go up on our money if you will hold my job for at least 5 to 10 years. We're fixing to see a very big change in employee-employer situation, and Walmart is just bringing attention to it. Again, do I blame them? I can't say I do. I can't say I don't. But like all these people that are flipping burgers at McDonald's and they're demanding $15, $20, $25 an hour, you're going to be replaced with AI that's going to be able to do it for pennies on the dollar versus $25 and $30. This can cause for major panic. This is why I tell you to make sure that you are financially independent, that you're not in debt up to your eyeballs, because AI is going to change everything about workforce. Interest and inflation's going up. You're looking at a major reset. And the sad part is we're embracing it as a culture with AI, and it's absolutely going to be our demise. Just pay attention. Now I want to go to this other story, the last story. This is the most positive thing, especially of the tragedy situation yesterday, the tragedy with Charlie just about a month ago. I want you to listen to this. They're calling this the Charlie effect. Republicans just added nearly 50,000 voters in California in just 1 month, to where the Democrats just added only 190 people. Okay, let me read those numbers again. Since Charlie's passing, 50,000 new registered Republican voters have hit the ballots for California. New voters, new registrations, Republicans, 50,000. To the Democrats, 190. Now, why this is a big deal is the people of California may be waking up. Sadly, their leadership is so left and so Democratic-led that I don't know if these votes will even help, even at that amount. But here's what you're starting to see. That's happening in almost every state, especially the Democrat states in the Union. They're calling it the Charlie effect. What's more important than the politics? What's more important than politics, Colby? What did Charlie stand for the most? What did he want to be remembered the most for? His conservative? No. His relationship with Trump? No. His wife and children? No, that was a big one. But his faith. I want you to listen to this. There's a new story from Colin Rugg. It says, faith leaders are reporting a 15% increase in church attendance following the situation, the tragedy with Charlie. It says faith leaders are calling it the Charlie Kirk effect, where people are flocking to church because they're looking for something. They're looking for something. Everybody wants something to believe in. Everybody wants faith in something. They may tell you they don't, but they do. They're looking for something. Well, what the Charlie Kirk effect is doing and what churches are saying is it's making people realize what made his life special was not money, was not family. Those are great things. It was not his relationships with Trump. It was not his Republican conservatism. It wasn't his wisdom. It was his faith. All the other things came after faith. And people are longing for something. It says Bible sales are through August 2025 hit a 10 million number. That is 1 million more comparable to this time last year. So 1 million more Bibles sold just this month. Even before Charlie passed, data revealed how people were significantly moving towards Christianity in the younger circles. And guess who they said was the main contributor of that even before he passed was Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA. It says, according to the study conducted earlier this year, church attendees in Gen Z has quadrupled even in the United Kingdom. It says in 2018, just 4% of 18 through 24-year-olds said that they attended church. That's heartbreaking. 4%, people. We're losing our country if we allow that to take place. Today, they said it's called the quiet revival. It is changing where 16% are increasing to now 21% of young people are stating that they're wanting to be in church. That's young men. Young women is 12. So women, we got to pick that up a little bit. Here's the sad thing. We're happy that it's only 21%. 21% of 18 to 24-year-olds. I told you I was going to leave on a good note. That's wonderful that it's up 16%, especially after the decline of the church for the last 60 years. But guys, there's so much more work to do. This is a wake-up call because we're happy to see that it's a 16% raise, but it only raised it to 21% among young individuals that are interested in being active in church. For women, it's only 12%. We have to get those numbers up. If we learn nothing from the tragedies from these churches situations, from the tragedy with Charlie, from the fact that ADL is now telling you that white Christian men are the problem. If we've learned nothing from that, what we should learn and figure out is what we've been doing is wrong. What we've been teaching our children is wrong because we're not getting any better in our cultures. Our cultures are falling to pieces. People are more in debt. They're more on anxiety medicine. They're on more antidepressants. It's sad. We've become a very depressed, very dependent generation. You know one thing that does solve that? Is going against the norm. Going against the ADL. Going against these rhinos and Democrats and stating, we want something different. And that's faith. That's Christ. If we learn nothing from the last few days, let's learn that the only hope we can have in this fallen world is Christ. What did I tell you? You see how I can turn that light brighter. The brighter that light gets, the more blemishes you may see on the wall. The more you may see my wrinkles. What does that mean? The brighter the light that hits, you start seeing every little detail of the blemishes, the problems. You start seeing the darkness in my eyes. See, that's what happens in the real world. When we expose and we bring light into the world, more Christians, more revivals, more reawakenings, the darkness will work harder at trying to shut us up. We cannot allow that to happen. I believe you're going to see more persecution of the church. I believe you're going to see more persecution of individuals. I believe you're going to see more persecution of freedom-minded individuals. And we think it's going to get better because we have Trump in the White House. That sounds great. But ultimately, there's still a lot of bad players in Washington that's not leading by example. They're wanting to control us. We have to say, people like Elon and Trump coming back together because of Charlie. It's what they both said, because of Charlie. If we see these people start working together, we can truly start a major change and revival. Something else that was just so hopeful to me. Elon, his life, he's been very successful. I mean, the most successful man in the world. Brilliant. Wisdom. Knowledge. And he's never really been a spiritual person. But lately, if you've noticed, he's starting to share quotes, starting to share Bible verses. He even reposted something. Erica Kirk shared a post yesterday on Sunday stating, go to church. You know who reposted and got the biggest amount of likes? Elon Musk. Elon Musk, I think, is starting to wake up to realize that all this stuff, money, power, fame, riches, means nothing. Still leaves you longing. But there's something bigger. Faith. I would love to see more people come to faith The only way they're going to come to faith is we speak it, we live it, and we become bold. What I tell you the name of the video was? It's a wake-up call. It's time to be woken up. Guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. God bless.